My name is Chris Koliba, and I'm a professor in community development and applied economics and a Gunn Fellow. I'm also a former Fulbright scholar in Sri Lanka, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experiences there. And I'm going to talk about hydraulic civilizations and stressed social ecological systems. But before I do that, I want to put a plug in for the Fulbright program. They offer a variety of programs, both from the student level, professional level, and scholar level. Great opportunities. Please talk to me about that. So Sri Lanka is a country of complex ethnic, cultural, and religious and biodiversity. And every picture there has a story behind it. I took everyone except for that map there. Sri Lanka is a teardrop, been described as the teardrop of India. You're talking about rich cultural diversity, religious diversity, and again, biodiversity. Key to Sri Lanka's resilience, though, over many millennia is its capacity to manage and govern water resources. And so the center map there is of the rainfall precipitation. You'll see the bright green there is the dry zones. You'll see a relationship there to the figure on the left, which are those black dots. Those are all tanks or ponds or, in essence, human-made water restoration and water storing systems to do things like grow rice paddy. And so these ancient kingdoms of Sri Lanka produced some of the very first hydraulic engineers, systemic land use planning, and community-based governance. These are just some of the contemporary examples of them. This is an example of that populates both, not just exclusively in Sri Lanka, it's in a lot of South Asia. The tank system, below it are the rice paddies, and around it are what they're called chenas, and these are potential diversified crop systems and whatnot. And there are folks in Sri Lanka that are looking at this from an ecosystem service perspective. And that's just a figure there of sort of an ancient governance of these systems. But Sri Lanka is also a system, a social-ecological system under stress. And these stresses include climate change. On the left is a climate change assessment of vulnerabilities in terms of drought and water, precip, and temperature. Also, obviously, from climate change, shifting monsoon patterns, sea level inundation, increasing droughts, they're in one now, and these lead to stresses on water supply, public health concerns, economic hardships, etc. They were also peoples that suffered from the tsunami in 2004, and they're still recovering from this. So you can imagine if you've had a stressful day, these folks have had many. There's also a country that's suffering from or recovering from civil war. So an area that I'm doing more research in is in the northern province, which is recovering from the war. And two particular projects I want to just mention to pique your interest. One is a pond retention and restoration project in Jaffna. And here are just some examples of these pond structures in the urban environment. You can see it's heavily eutrophied, but they also lie in the middle of neighborhoods. Another area in this very region that I've looked at in the rural communities has to do with more rural restoration and water retention. And these are the climate impacts that I saw in this particular community. But I also want to just say that Sri Lankan communities are resilient, particularly those who are hardest stressed. And you can see here that there's women's groups that are entering into seed savings. And this is my friend Sutharsan, who is actually coming to the US to study for a year, and we're going to continue to work on projects. So this is the drainage project. There's opportunities to collaborate through coursework on this that I'm designing. Here's just some examples of community-based adaptation strategies in the rural community that I studied and continue to work with. And so there's more opportunities there. And please then ask me about this ongoing work, opportunities for accessing this project, and also the significance of this picture. Thank you.